I think from my experience, I will say this to people who always want to help others. And if you're very like interested in helping people from another like area or another region of the world, I think the best thing to do is either to fully go in or not at all. Because like I think the worst thing you can ever do is show. Okay, I think I need to say this. I need to find a way to structure this. I think one of the worst things you can ever do to somebody who is suffering, right, is show them a new life, a new idea, a new vision, or a new future, which obviously is going to change their life, right? But then not help them get there. Have fun with them in the moment when you're showing them or introducing them, but then never give them a roadmap or resources to get there.
I will be right here.
3, 2, 1. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Fabishmark podcast. It's been a great year, 2022. It's a new year. Happy New Year, everyone. And as you can see, I'm using a microphone. It's really, I don't like doing this. Because I'm normally used to the ones that you clip on, but these ones are like, it's weird just having this right here in front of you. I'm not used to this, but we're just gonna go on. We are trying to get good quality, and that's what matters. But I just wanted to jump on real quick. So a few weeks ago, I was in Kisumu, the city where I was born, and I got to meet a few friends and all that. And it was Christmas time, and while I was there, we started playing this game called Heads Up. The one that you put your phone on your face and you do like that. And in that game, there's a category called Star Wars, right? And I am not like a huge Star Wars person. So then I felt, I was a loser at that point because everyone was winning. Everyone knew what to do. I didn't. So then I had to go back and start learning about Star Wars. And now, for the last 1 week, all I've been doing is watching Star Wars from, the very first one. Now, I have a question because I didn't know this, but I just realized I found out or discovered that Star Wars wasn't released in order like most movies, which is weird. So for somebody who is coming in right now to watch Star Wars, it's so hard to know what to do, and everyone is giving you a different opinion. Somebody's like, well, if you watch it in chronological order, you won't be able to get the full story because there are some things that you'll get before others. That's why it almost feels like when they were writing Star Wars, they did not expect it to be as big as it got. And so then they started making these side stories and trying to explain some things deeper. And so those things, they kind of went back and they were like, we need to explain this more. We need to expand on this. So now you have this whole thing, and some of the stuff were released earlier, but in the time, the framework of the time of what Star Wars is, some things came later than the others, even though in the movie itself it's supposed to be behind. So to those people who are like huge Star Wars fans, I have a question. Do you watch Star Wars in the chronological order, like according to like one of the characters in the storyline, or is it better to watch it according to the release date? Because I don't know. I'm new here, and what's the best experience? Because if I also don't want to be like, oh, that's him as he was young. Oh, that's him older. I just saw him older. Wait, he's young. It's so confusing. So somebody please give me an answer. But anyway, that was fun. And then I got touring. I went back to the places I was as a kid, and it reminded me. I have a story of my childhood. I think people would love. So I think in second grade, we were just. I think when you're like in first or second grade, that's when you're getting like your personality and you're becoming yourself and all these things. And in second grade, I remember we had like this group of kids who were like bullies, and so you know, um, I was very tiny and I was very scared of people who, bullies. I didn't know what to do. So I joined this other group of kids, and we had one or two other kids came up with an idea that you can't beat the bullies; they're bigger than you. So the way to deal with them, and this is in second grade, the way to deal with them is to find something that is so embarrassing that if they think about it, they won't like something that is almost like a punishment to what they'll do, but it's not instigated by the teachers, it's by us. So it's like we took the law into our own hands. um so what we decided to do was we would buy chewing gum, and then we would stick chewing gum on people's chairs. And if you're a bully or if you did something wrong, the rule of the law would require that you look at your seat all the time, because at some point you would sit on a chewing gum, and there's nothing worse than and like when I was in school, we wore uniform. It was like white t-shirt, blue shorts, socks, shoes. Didn't like those uniforms, but anyway, it's you had to like we had like three pairs of uniform, so you'd like switch it back and forth. But imagine if you'd sat on like a whole thing of chewing gum, and when chewing gum dries, it's so gross, and you sat on it, the whole night it just stuck there, and then you sat on it. It doesn't. It's so hard to take off, especially when you're doing laundry with your hands. So if anybody had chewing gum on their shorts or the back of their shirt when they sat, that meant that they were bullies or they did something wrong, and it worked awesome. But now the problem was, some people took it to another level to where now it became a prank. People would stick, and now thinking back, I'm like, that's the worst thing ever. But when we were kids, we just had to find a way to deal with these bullies. So, we, anybody that was chewing gum, you knew right away that it was going to go on somebody's chair. And so it became this, like the law kind of, it became too much. We had no control at some point. So, and like everyone was just doing it to each other. But because we started it, and up to today, up to this day, I still have that phobia of sitting without looking. Like I will never sit down without looking at the chair because you had to be like on your feet all the time, thinking if I sit here and I don't look, I might be sitting on chewing gum. So anyway, that went on until one day. One day, this guy, I don't know what he was thinking. A teacher, because in primary school in Kenya we were beat, so a teacher had beat him, and he was mad. So he decided he was going to take the same thing we used to do to each other as kids, and he was going to apply the same idea, the same prank to a teacher. So he went and bought like 20 chewing gum, chewed them, rolled it into a huge ball, put it on the teacher's chair. This lady, my teacher, she was awful. She was so mean. She comes, she sits on the chair, gets up, and the whole class goes crazy, And we were very loyal at that age, so nobody wanted to like be like, oh yeah, he's the one that did it. So we just decided to, keep it quiet and act like, oh yeah, I mean, who did that? Oh, that's so bad. But we knew who did that. Now the teachers, the entire teaching whatever group, or the entire teaching board came to our class, the second graders, and they were like, you have to produce the person that did this by evening. They were like, we're not going to do that. So then the teachers were like, well, we are sorry, but that our class teacher, she was so mad, man. But like, most of the kids were so happy to see that, because, it was like, I don't know, it's, when you're a kid, it's a revenge. You're trying to get back at the teacher for beating one of you. But anyway, so what happened was the teachers, now it became such a dangerous thing that everyone was on high alert, that they, they're like, oh man, I'm gonna sit on chewing gum. And then I remember like we named it the chewing gum pandemic. And then at some point the teachers just decided, well, the easiest way to know who buys chewing gum, first of all, chewing gum was banned from school. That was the first thing. Now if you were seen chewing gum, they knew, oh yeah, you're the one, you're a culprit. So then they would like, give you some sort of punishment. So it was fully banned. Second, the only shop around school that sold gum, they went and told that guy, whoever buys the most gum, please tell us who that kid is. And so if you went to the shop, he would ask you your name because they had like a registry, and they'd be like, he's the one. And so we had to like kind of like chill it out. But at the peak of that, we were we were running a chewing gum empire, and we were in second grade. If we would have continued, we would have expanded to other schools because like most kids were learning about this, and they were like, "Oh, that is such a cool way to get back to your teachers and other people." And looking back, I'm like, that was the dumbest thing we ever did. But I thought that was a very funny story that we just decided to build a chewing gum empire. And now to think about it, it's so gross, but also it was like the funniest thing. But what is a trend that you did in high school or like in primary school that you look back and you're like, yeah, that was so cool. Another one that we did was we had like these rubber bands, and we would so like if you went and bought like a pencil or like a pack of pencil, they'll be wrapped in a band. So we would take out the band, stick it between our fingers, and then like get like a piece of paper, roll it, and then make it into like something like this, and then put it in the paper and like use it as like arrows or something. That was fun. And then another game that was very dangerous was, so like there's a type of a pen brand called BIC, Bic. And it's like, so there's the tip, then if you can take it out with whatever that thing that has ink, and then it has a case, like it has like a plastic case thing, and then it has like a small hole at one side. So what we did, and if you can try this, you take that pen, and then you take out the inner tube with the ink, so you're left with the case only. Then you take a potato, you take the pen, the pen case, whatever. You strike the potato, and then you pull it out. So there will be a piece of potato lodged in there, covering the whole. I mean, a small section of the pen. And then on one end, you take a very thick piece of paper, you put it inside, you block the hole, and so what's left is sorry. So what's left is like this, a lot of like air trapped between the potato and the paper, and it's almost like there's so much pressure, and so you take like a like a stick or like a wire, and you push on the paper, and as the air pressure as the air pressure increases, the potato piece is like shot off, like it's like almost like a mini explosion. And it travels so fast that if it hits your eye, it can even like pop your eye or your lip. And we did that also, but like those were some things that we did in primary school that looking back, I'm like, yeah, those. Why did we do those? But then again, somebody asked me this: what was the hardest thing you ever did in primary school? And I think the hardest thing I ever did, the most challenging thing. So when I was between the age of 8 to 16, I was in the Kenya Scouts Association. The most, I would say, let me think of a word. The highest or the most the most skilled group of Boy Scouts in Africa are the Kenya Scouts. And just a small part of this, but when I went to the States, I was surprised to hear that Scouts, especially Girl Scouts, only sold cookies and stuff. I was like, what? Because the type of scouting we did was insane. It was very different. Anyway, so between the age of 8 and 16, I was part of the Kenya Scouts, and we did a lot of like competitions and stuff. And at the peak of it, there's a section for you to, because like the age groups are divided into sections, and so the most active section is called the Chipukizi. And then we're doing Chipukizi for like 4 years. You're supposed to move up the rank, and at the highest point you get a badge, and it's called the Kilele badge, I think. I think that's the badge or something like that. Um, I'm not sure. You know what? Let me. I don't know. I think it's the Kilele badge. I'm not sure what the name is. Huh? Yeah, there's a badge. I don't remember the name, but it's a Swahili name. Anyway, for you to get this badge, and it's like the highest honor a Kenyan scout can ever get. So, we had this for every school. We had something called a patrol. I was part of the Dragon Patrol 18th Kisumu Troop, and so each school or each region had a patrol, and I was part of one. So what we did to get this badge, which is like super a huge deal among the scouting community, you'd go for a 3 day challenge or a 1 week challenge, depending on what they would give you. So for us, we went to Rwanda, the border of Rwanda and Burundi. There's some mountains there, and we went to those mountains, the top of those mountains. And on the day when we did those things, so first we did the fire lighting thing, which is quite easy. Anyone can light a fire if you have the knowledge and you have the resources. That's quite easy. And then we did this hike up and down the mountain for like I don't know how long. I don't know the specifics, but it was pretty hard. And then now the most challenging one was we were told to cook food without utensils or pots or pans or anything. So they gave us flour, wheat flour, to make chapati, and water. They gave us I know I said water, it's supposed to be water. That's how we say it here. But anyway, so they gave us wheat flour to make chapati with water and salt. They gave us a potato. They gave us an egg, and they gave us hot dogs. So they told us cook these things, but you don't use any spoon, any cups, any whatever. So what we did is we made the chapati with we just mixed it with water. We the dough, we spread it out, we put it between sticks, and while we mixed it, we added oil so that it was all like just mixed. If you know how to make chapati, it's quite easy. But we put it between sticks over fire, flipped it, made a chapati, done. Then for the hot dog, we took bamboo sticks. We took out the insides, cleaned it real well, and then we put oil inside the bamboo sticks. We stuck a hot dog inside, and then we hang it over fire. So what happens is, as the fire hits the bamboo stick, the heat is evenly distributed to cook the hot dog. Now, I might just point out that this food wasn't to be eaten; it was just for you to get the points. And then we were told to, of course, we roasted the potato. That was easy. It was a sweet potato, so we just roasted it. The hardest one was the egg, because they wanted us to make boiled egg, but we weren't supposed to use water directly, and we weren't supposed to use a pot or pan or whatever. So we kind of, many people failed. Majority of people failed at the fire stage. So we're at this point, we're sitting with the egg, we're like, oh man, what can we do? So what we ended up doing, and this thing took like almost till midnight, I remember. So we just gathered soil from around, we dug a hole, gathered soil, we added water to the soil, and it was clay soil. So then we mixed the soil real well, we took the egg, we wrapped the egg with clay soil, and the clay soil is wet. Now, they didn't want us to touch the egg with the water, but they said you can use anything else, another medium. So we used clay soil. We wrapped the egg in clay soil, and we made sure that it was wrapped so that there was an egg, but then the clay soil also looked like egg because it was very smooth. And so what happened was we took the wrapped egg with clay soil and we put it on fire, like we just put it inside the fire. So what happens is clay is very compact, and when it's wet, it really conducts heat very well, and the heat is evenly distributed. Like there's no single part of the soil or the whole thing that isn't like heated. Like the temperature is the same everywhere. That's the magic of clay. And so what happened was, the trick was you put the clay soil in the fire, but you watch it, because once you see a crack, not in the egg, because you can't see the egg. Once you see a crack on the clay soil, that means it's ready. Your egg is ready. So it was like it took took longer than what it normally does. Because normally I think it's like 21 minutes or something, and the egg is boiled. This took us like 2 hours. We're just sitting there watching that egg, And when it finally cracked, when we opened the clay soil, took out the clay soil, we looked at the egg, and we took out the shell. It was a fully boiled egg. So that was the hardest thing I ever did in primary school. I remember that it was really hard. Um, but yeah, so those were some things I did in high school, in primary school, and I really enjoyed primary school. I enjoyed high school. So so I was just thinking of something just a minute ago. Um, you know, there's an episode I did, and I kind of got a lot of heat from it. And we did it at the coast with David, with Kags, with Renee, I think. And I think and Isaiah, and we were talking about Logan Paul and Jake Paul. And I said, I think Logan Paul and Jake Paul are pretty cool at what they do. Now, recently, Logan Paul has been in a scandal called the Cryptozoo. He somehow started this company with some people, or he was the head of this crypto company, and it was a game. And the whole idea of this thing was you invest your money, you buy an egg, the egg hatches, and then it gives you like some sort of like mixture between like creatures or something. And then I don't know if it was like a point system that you earned your money, or the once the egg hatched you earn profit. But it was something like that. And so what ended up happening was Logan Paul introduced this game, people because people trusted him. Then he just went quiet about the game. He jumped onto another project, the 99 Originals, and then he never talked about this game at all. So then people are like, "Well, what's up, Logan? Like, what are you gonna, what about this game? We invested our money, we don't see any returns. What's going on?" It was like millions of dollars. So that's rightly so. That makes sense. And then a few months later, people kind of the people who didn't invest with all the crypto death and all that thing, like when crypto kind of tanked, people forgot about this. But then there comes this guy called Cryptozilla. No, sorry, not Cryptozilla, Coffeezilla, and he just goes down this like investigation route, and he figures out that Logan Paul got scammed, or Logan Paul and his team got people to work on this project who ended up taking money and running. So now there's no money, people are pissed, and Logan Paul's name is in the mud. Now, I think my opinion on all this is I don't care about what Logan thinks or what Coffeezilla thinks. I think the most important thing is the people whose money got taken. That's like the saddest thing, because like what if like that was a person's life savings, and it's just gone like that. It's pretty sad. And it's even sadder when you think about it, in the sense that Logan Paul, when you think about when you put your money in and then you're trying to ask, "Hey Logan, what about my money?" and he's never gonna reply, that puts you in a very, very angry state. And I get that. Now, that is the most important thing. Those people whose money got taken are the most important factor in this whole thing. But it seems like the people who didn't invest are either taking sides, going after Logan Paul, or praising Coffeezilla, but forgetting this medium who are the people who invested their money. And I think that's just tough, because you can hate Logan Paul. You can find 1,000 other reasons to hate him. But I also feel like I keep calling him Cryptozilla. Coffeezilla also had something to gain from this. So I think that's all the praise he should get. But it seems like it's kind of, society is funny about this. The hero is praised more, and like, okay, think about like if somebody, I've seen this a lot in movies. Like, you'll see a superhero who has saved somebody, right? Think about like Superman, right? He's saved somebody, and this person is like almost like exhausted, like so exhausted. Now, when he flies down with this person, and there's a group of people there, these people will probably run to celebrate with Superman and forget that person that's been saved, you know? And so I think that's how society is. Like, society lifts up the hero more than the Like yes, it's good to lift up the hero, but it's not good to lift up the hero to the point that you forget the victim. And I think that's like the case here, and I think that's also the issue, like with the Andrew Tate issue. People are so against him that they forget that there's a victim. They don't care about the victim. They just want to see the person fail. And I think that's very dangerous, especially in this world right now. Um, and so the whole Kofi versus Logan thing, I don't care about either of them. Anyone else could have exposed Logan. So I don't think Kofi should be like the big deal here. I think what's more important are the victims who lost their money. And if those people are compensated, now we can go and praise, because I mean I've watched Kofi's thing, and like in the comments it's all like, oh, you're the best, like what do you call it? You're the best journalist. This is journalistic integrity, blah blah blah. I understand. But if you look at the whole thing, he would not. He would not have done that if Logan Paul was a nobody. I don't think so. He does a specific number of cases for big names because he knows he's going to get some sort of, like clout, And so at the end of the day, yes, he might have won for Logan. Yes, Logan is terrible. That doesn't matter. So if you're one of those people that takes sides and you're like, yeah, this is all that matters, I'm going to either be this part or this part, I think you're doing it all wrong. And that's just my opinion. I think the most important thing ever is to take care of the victim. Now, which brings me to a question I saw on Reddit. I love Reddit. And it was about like ignorance, and they asked like, is ignorance bliss? And I thought about it for a minute, when I went back to the place where I was born and I saw some of the friends I grew up with and just some people that I knew, it dawned on me that there's a few types of people in this world, There's people who are super aware of their surrounding and they will act according to how, the situation needs them to, you know. But then there's people who are just oblivious to the situation. They're oblivious to their surrounding. They're oblivious to the circumstances of whatever situation they're in, and they'll just, autopilot through anything. Now, which side do I think is the best? I don't. And then obviously there's a person who's in the middle. Sometimes they're super aware when it suits them, and then there's sometimes they're just oblivious because it doesn't matter. And I think that's the person most people should, strive to be, because like I'll give an example. I grew up in a very, mixed situation. Sorry if you hear some like background noise. I'm trying to focus, but I'm getting distracted. But yeah, like I was thinking about this, and like some of my friends, like when I talk to them about life and I talk to them about like the future and what they want in life, um, sometimes I'm like, I can't, I can't tell if they really know, like even if they're interested even a little bit in what is going on, you know. And I'll be like, hey, so what do you think about like the president, or what do you think about like the situation right now in the country, or like how do you feel about the next 10 years, or what do you want to be, or whatever? It's like, well, I don't know. As long as I'm alive, I'm good. That's the oblivious one. He'll just ride through it all and just be there. And there's somebody who's like gonna be like, well, in the next 5 years, I want to be at this job. I want to have achieved this, and I want to do this, and I want to do this, and I want to do this. I'm like, oh wow, okay, cool. He's very aware of the situation. And then there's somebody who's gonna be like, well, I'm so scared that I might not turn out to be what I want to be, but if not, also, I'm fine. So they're like half and half. Like they're aware that something might happen, but they're also not really like worried about it. And so yeah, I think like ignorance is obviously there is place, but like it depends with the situation. Now, I have grown up with people who tend to help other people, missionaries, and I really love it. I really love it. But then, like the other day, I was looking at this story of a missionary who went to, I think, Russia, and then adopted somebody, and then it turned out that this kid was actually an adult and attacked them, blah blah blah. Then somebody was there like, yeah, that's why you don't help people, and I'm like, I don't know. I think from my experience, I will say this to people who always want to help others, and if you're very like interested in helping people from another like area or another region of the world, I think the best thing to do is either to fully go in or not at all. Because, like, I think the worst thing you can ever do is show. Okay, I think I need to say this. I need to find a way to structure this. I think one of the worst things you can ever do to somebody who's suffering, right, is show them a new life, a new idea, a new vision, or a new future, which obviously is going to change their life, right? But then not help them get there. Have fun with them in the moment when you're showing them or introducing them, but then never give them a roadmap or resources to get there. And that is what most people do. Like, I don't have a problem about people going to other places to visit, but like, if you're going to travel to another place for like a week, then make it a week. Like if you go there for a week and like you're like, oh yeah, I think we could support you. You're putting them in a place where they'll have expectations, because people have expectations, and then you might not meet those expectations, and then now like you leave them at an even worse situation. I don't know if that's even English, worse, but you leave them in a place far worse than where they were before, and that's very bad. So yeah, I think like if you're gonna help somebody in life, if you really commit to helping somebody, either just be like, okay, this is how much I can do, and that's it. But like if you show them something new, or you show them a future, or you give them the hope of a future, but then nothing to follow up or to show them how to get there, it's almost like that. They teach me, give me a fish. You fed me today. Show me how to fish. You fed me forever. Something like that. I think people should like, in life, like employ that a lot. Like even if you're gonna help somebody and they have a problem and you're trying to listen to them, I always say don't listen to somebody in the moment and then get up and leave and never like or like be like, oh yeah, I'll help you or I'll listen to you, and then you give them the hope of having a friend and then you step away. That's very sad. But anyway, it's life, and that's just what happens. So to close out, though, I just wanted this to be a short episode, but I discovered some really funny things. And I'm really excited to share this. Every episode now, I'll be sharing something I discovered. I was reading. There's a man who was a World War II soldier in Japan. He was stationed in Guam. Now, if you know anything about Guam, or Guam, I don't know, Guam something. Sorry, I'm trying to move this because it's very uncomfortable. It feels weird to just have something in your face, But he was stationed in Guam. And Guam is like a stage or a center for like Delta Airlines, and most of, like it's a very strategic place or region or whatever for flights, to go in and out or refuel or whatever. So this guy was stationed here, and he lived out for I don't know, like he was 70 when he was found. So he lived like 40 something years in this place, and he never knew that the World War had ended. I mean, is that not crazy? There's another guy also in the Philippines who lived in the forest, and he believed the whole time that the World War was going on, and he would go into the villages, attack the villagers, steal their chicken, steal their stuff, come back to the forest, and he believed for as long as he did, for 30 plus years or something like that, that the World War was still going on. Now the funny thing is, when he was told that it had ended, because okay, the guy in Guam, the reason why he continued living there, and this is a very important part of the story, is he lived there and believed that there was still a World War because he would see the flights coming in and out. So he always thought, oh man, we're still fighting. And he had like a hut, and he would like fish and all these things, but he lived there for like 30 plus years. And he knew like he was actively fighting for his country. Is that crazy? So then when he was caught and he was told that the war had ended, he refused to believe until he said that I will only believe that the war has ended when my general who ordered me to go into the forest comes and relieves me of my duty. Of which the guy did, came back and relieved him or something like that. But then he was so surprised by how Japan had changed that he died the next year. You know, he just could not like fathom how like different it was and like how Japan embraced more Western, ideologies and stuff. So he died. Same to the guy in the Philippines, which is mind blowing. So yeah, if you know anyone that's acting crazy and is living in a forest somewhere, they might be thinking, there's still a wild war. So just go and be like, hey, dude, I think it's over. We won. Even if they didn't, just be like, we won. But yeah. What else? What else? Huh. This is so weird. Hmm. Oh, yeah. It's the new year, so we need to have New Year's resolutions. I don't normally do this. It's kind of it's very cliche. But my New Year's resolution is just to listen more and make more podcast episodes and to say no more. Not to say no more. No, to say the word no much more. That's my New Year's resolution. I think learning to say no, learning to say no is very important. Yeah. So I'll just listen more and try to shut up more so that I can take in more information. Actually, listen, not just hear people talk. Listen. And those are all achievable. I think. Yeah. I'm not going to like be like, oh yeah, this year I'm going to go on a weight loss, and I'm going to no. Mm-mm. But before I go, something else that's crazy that I was thinking about America. I mean, America is crazy, but something about America that's crazy. If you think about coffee, right? Now, coffee originally came from Ethiopia, which is somewhere here, very close. I'm in Nairobi right now, so it's like very close. And the people there just grounded it and like added water, and that was it. And then somebody from the West came and discovered these coffee beans, a single brown coffee beans, right? Arabica or Robusta or whatever those varieties are, is still brown. Now it's mind blowing to think about because coffee is one of those things that's very you can franchise a lot of things, but coffee is the biggest one that the biggest franchise I've ever seen in the US. Think about this. Tea is tea, and that's it. Coffee, you go to the States. The most fascinating thing about coffee is when you go to like a Starbucks and you just stand next to the barista and you just listen to the orders. You're like, how do you learn this? If you're a coffee taker and you have like super like complex orders, what's the first time you make like that super hard order, right? Like the very long order of coffee. Where do you learn that from? I'm really curious to know because, like, do you hear somebody say that and then you say that, or like, do you read it somewhere and then you say, "I'm gonna try that"? How do you know? Because they're coffee drinkers are the most specific people I've ever seen. They'll be like, "Well, and I think baristas. I don't know if there's already like a degree for that, but it's going to be a degree soon because the as we are the way it's going, it needs to be like its own cause because if you think about it, right, like." Tea is just tea. You either have milk or not. You have like chamomile and whatever, but that's it. Coffee, there's like medium pump. There's like two pumps. There's like black. There's like white. There's like espresso. There's like foam milk. There's like almond milk. There's soy milk. There's all these things. Caramel. There's a latte. There's a cappuccino. There's a macchiato. You're like, what? I'm pretty sure I could make a coffee order right now and somebody somewhere would make it. Okay? Okay, let me try and think about one. Okay. So I'm going to have a black caramel, double pump, single shot, black. Have I said that again? Black with a cup of milk, cold, and then no frosted milk. I don't know if that's a thing. Frost, what do you call it? Okay, let's start over. Let's start over. I'm gonna have coffee, caramel, black, one shot. I'm gonna have thin milk, soy milk with a little bit of almond milk, shaken, very very foamy. I want it to go cup, and I want it medium cold, no medium hot with ice. Yeah, or something like that. I know I don't even know what I'm talking about, but somebody could make that, and that's fascinating. How in America everything is franchised. Everything is franchised. Listen, you can have a song, a kid's song, right? Baby Shark. It will be franchised into something else. You'll have Baby Shark toys. You'll have Baby Shark shoes. You'll have Baby Shark hats. You'll have Baby Shark theme parks. You'll have Baby Shark hairstyle. You have all this. Like, what? You have music. There's like a tour version. There's a studio version. There's an acoustic version. And it's the same song, it's fascinating how much, you have a movie, there's a book, now there's a sequel, there's a prequel, there's like a show, there's like what do you call those, like a Broadway show about it, there's like a match about it. It's crazy how a single thing can be franchised that much. And franchising is crazy about stuff, but the coffee one is you have like, you can have anything. Like I think the thing I saw about the US is when you have an idea, try to expand it as much as you can. If you have like, if you ever have somebody who has like, I don't know, a kid like me, right? I have black hair. If my hair was gray, right? I could find a way to make a movie about it, to make a song about it, to make a theme park about it. It would be like, what? And so the whole franchising thing, you can franchise anything in America if you have the ability to. I don't think you can do that in Kenya because people be like, that's lame. But there's even like, I don't know, like you can even find like bedtime songs from like Baby Shark, and then you can find like cereals from Baby Shark, and then you can find like cushions from Baby Shark, and every like Star Wars is such a huge franchise, and like there's like lightsabers being sold. There's like all this like naming rights, and it's insane. But I love that about America. But anyway, yeah, thank you so much for this show. This was great. I'll see you again on Tuesday. So now I'll be trying as much as possible to give one episode a week. Don't forget to listen. Do not forget to hit that subscribe button. Please, I just want to reach 1,000 that I can rest, and then I can start working on more stuff. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button or that 1,000 button, please. And then follow me on Instagram. Follow my podcast on Instagram, on TikTok, and Facebook maybe. I don't have a Facebook one yet, but yeah. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.